will be Papa Bush, of course. Which other case? We've not given any updates because Papa Bush's case has been almost a mystery. So turns out, he says, according to Papa Bush, he says today the judge makes a decision whether Bushiri will be extradited back to South Africa or not. And so we are possibly going to get an update concerning this later on today. So stay subscribed and I'll definitely give you an update when he comes out of that court thingy. Now, I'm assuming that if they tell him he is not coming, if they tell him he's extraditing, they possibly are going to do the bail thing. I don't know, maybe they do the same thing in Malawi. Like if you come in for a certain hearing and they deem you to be either, there needs to be more to look at, they probably won't let you go home. So once you come into the court, you are in your suit and whatever, if they say, hey, you know what, we are extraditing you, and they make that decision, you are not going back home. There's no point. What are you going home to do? You're going, if it's decided that you are going to be extradited, we possibly holding you. Okay, it's like when you go for a decision whether they're gonna revoke your bail. They possibly will tell you, you will probably possibly come from home. Okay, maybe you did something when you were out there that was a little bit maybe they should revoke your bail and the whole, that whole jazz. And then so once you come in, they possibly might not let you go back home. After that decision, they'll just tell you, hey, chief, we are holding you. You are staying. Okay? And so Papa Bush said today will be the day when we will all get to see that particular update. I had it up just now. I want to read what it says exactly. And if you read it up, he showed himself outside the court. This is a couple of minutes back. I was about to film a different video when I saw that particular update. And so Papa Bush was updating us. He says, the Lilongwe court is in a few minutes from now going to deliver the ruling whether Prophet Shephat Bushiri and Prophetess Mary should be extradited to South Africa or not. In the picture below, the arrival of the prophet, and we will be giving details. Always remember that God is still on the throne. Okay, so that was the post that they made there, and in the comment section you kind of like see people already chanting victory, already chanting victory. Bushiri was there with his presidential look, when you see red tie, white thingy, and blue top, and the whole nine jazz. Mary, she's a fashion person. Mary was dressed in a top that looks very Michael Jackson. I don't talk much about Mary. Mary was dressed a little bit like Michael, there, and thingy. They were there with their bodyguards and what's the name of the lawyer again? Wapona. I forgot his name. Is that the name? Is Wapona the advocate for Bushiri when he's in thing? But anyways, either ways. And so I don't know exactly how that works over in Malawi or if it's the same. If it is the same, if that's the case, that when they render the judgment, if they tell you, yeah, you are being extradited, if that then determines that you don't have to go home, they're going to hold you. I don't know if it's the same, that particular part of the detail. So we'll probably know when that judgment has been handed down, right? We'll probably know then when that judgment has been handed down. Now, if you look at a lot of systems within like the law system and whatnot and all this kind of, it's very fascinating stuff. It's designed in a manner that no absolute power is making judgment on everything. And so you'll have the Supreme Court there, you'll have the, your local courts and the high court and all those kind of things. You'll have all of those, and then you'll have your judiciaries, whatever, make the law, and the people that actually legislate, those ones. your legislature and all that. And so these branches create a bridge so that we do not have an ease of corruption of the law, but I've always found this idea, like this particular positions that kind of run for years, and a person can be a politician for over 20-30 years, and never get impeached, as long as they never actually run for the particular position of president. Like, for instance, some person can be put into a minister's position, get removed, and get reinstated into that thingy, maybe with a different president or something like that. I've always found those things to be quite interesting. And so in Bushiri's case, there was a point where I think the judge was removed and then they put another person. If I remember very well, I remember there was a period where they were saying that the judge was still kind of like studying up the case and stuff like that. And so right now, this entire case has almost looked like, from how it's been reported from the South African side, they feel like they've done a good job. They've presented all the evidence necessary. They were always positive. But then also when you look at Bushiri's, they were also very positive. They made it sound like they were being agreed with throughout the entire process. And so it's going to be a very interesting one when we get to today's episode. We haven't had anything. I mean, like, there was months when I was literally just Googling, like, Hypo, what happened to this case? And I would be reading old articles to try and see, was there a postponed date, or maybe the judge went on leave, because, which is another thing that I didn't actually also know, that if a particular judge is dealing with a certain case, if that judge has a period of going to leave, that means all the cases that they are handling also go on leave. And so that's why a person can be in custody for a very long time because of this particular length of period. Because if the case gets thick, I don't know what happens if someone is legal and they know. What happens if the judge that is ruling over a certain case and the people who either they're accused or thinking or suspect, maybe it's a murder trial or something like that, if you do know, what if they want to be moved from that particular judge thing? Because I've seen some of those kind of thing where people want a different judge and stuff like that. What if a judge went on holiday? And I don't know how long that period is. Someone once told me, I just forgot it. And so, like, there was a period, I think it was last year, when the judge that was dealing with Tate Popedi's, who was dealing with Zondo's case, went on leave, And so, what if during that period you request for a new judge? Does that cause delays? Because I understand that the judge has to now go back and start from the beginning to try and understand. Even the one who is on Bushiri's case, she needed time to kind of catch up with the whole thing. It's a whole big job to being a judge. It's not just like you're just throwing the gavel and stuff like that. There's a lot of paperwork that the person has to read up and stuff like that, and all that, the evidence that must be presented. They must note certain testimonies that are given, the details of them, and even when they give a ruling, it is this whole entire detailing of information that was particularly delivered. Because I think kind of what you call this appeals would kind of look at things like that. When people try to appeal a case, they would look at things like that to say, the judge judged on the basis of this, but they didn't judge on the basis of this and this and this. Those would create positions of appeals. I understand that there is also this whole thing of what you call it, the judgment of the judgment of the settled judgment. I forgot what it's called. I forgot what it's called. When like the judgment that the judge gives, it's like it's settled. I don't know. Does that only apply on High Court? Tell me down in the comment section. We are all learning. But either ways, it's very interesting stuff. I find law, like I would have probably been a police officer, detective, what? I would have probably been in law enforcement if I was not in thingy. I do absolutely love that profession and the whole nine jazz. But I will give you the update on this particular case when we finally get the judgment. I bet you they're either going to be celebrating, or we will know either Bushiri is not coming out, or so if they don't, if the judge says you are going back to South Africa, does that mean that they can go back and appeal? That's another question that's very interesting. Tell me down in the comment section, and I will give you an update later on when we know what is happening concerning this particular thing. Quite an interesting time.